Hey, how you guys doing? What's up, tribe? Hope you are feeling fantastic. Hope you are doing absolutely awesome. I want to send a big thank you and shout out to Cynthia Chirinda from the Wellness Center for hosting our live event last night. For those of you who missed it, you missed out. We were talking about the dynamics between men and women and how our roles in society have somewhat changed and evolved over time. And it seems like the paradigm that exists between men and women and our roles in society have become somewhat distorted. And it was a fantastic conversation. I do believe that we are going to be having some other subsequent conversations when it comes to the subject matter that was covered, because we need to go in depth as to the state of our union as a species, male and female. And at the end of the webinar, for those of you who missed it, please check it out. I've got the link in the description. There was a question that was posed, and the question was, how is it possible to stay positive, especially with the way things are going and how wild things are? Okay. How do we help others find a positive mindset during difficult times? So, yeah, okay, I think this is probably a great question to address, particularly right now. First off, hey, look, everybody, I know that everyone is anxious and worried about the fact that we might be rotting as a society. And it's true. If you look at the news headlines, if you listen to the political rhetoric, or if you click on that outrage clickbait on social media and the interwebs, if you do, then yes, you would think that we are at each other's throats, that we have these radically opposed views and values, and that we are deeply divided as a culture. I mean, just how many times have we been told how deeply divided we are? But are we? The reality is, it's simply not true. We are just being played. The boring facts of the matter are, we are by and large agree on most important issues. I came across these stats recently. I will give you some for instances. These have been some of the hotly debated issues over recent times. 3/4 of us believe that the government should expand its coverage of healthcare. 2/3 believe that there should be stricter abortion laws. 79% believe that gay marriages should be legal. 76% support investing in more education. 96% support investing in infrastructure and improvement. 76% also that China continues to be a big problem. Some say it is important to, incorporate more racial diversity. 2/3 see China as a threat. And so many people believe that the global superpowers should invest resources to remain dominant superpowers. So those are massive majorities, not 50-50 or even 60-40, but those that are dependent on your emotional engagement. They shine a spotlight on those that are in the minority, and that is what occupies the majority of our attention. The spotlight on those that are in office, a few thousand in a city of several million. The spotlight on a few streets in downtown cities in a city of 653,000. The spotlight on protests of a few hundred in the middle of cities of a few million. So yes, it is easy to start thinking that the minority is the majority, but it is not. Understand this, okay? Most people are mostly good, decent, smart, caring, and compassionate. The problem is, most people are also fearful, insecure, naive, lazy, and selfish. We are both those things, all of us. So, to the point of the question, we become more of what we give more attention to. This is how we work. Inside our nature as human beings is light and dark. Okay, we all have the capacity for great love, heroism, and contribution. We also have the capacity for great evil, destruction, and viciousness, all of us. And don't think any of you are immune to this. As most people will show you that this is the situation. Therefore, our job is to drive the dark side of our nature into the smallest corner possible, and to do all that we can to shine a light on the light side of us, amplify that. And we don't ever actually rid ourselves of this darkness, but we can drive it into a smaller space. And doing so requires that we take a proactive effort to do so, particularly when you are surrounded by so much darkness, temptation, clickbait. So, and to everyone else, it's important that you understand what we are up against. We need to understand that what the game that we are in and how we are being played. When you have both light and dark in the human soul, the problem with our current society is all the tools around us are optimized to amplify our darkness. Get this. The fundraising initiative for the presidential campaign in the US smashed all previous records. It topped over $10 billion spent. The total was only $7 billion in 2016, $6 billion in 2012, $5 billion in 2008. Now, I ask you, who got the majority of that money that was raised? Where was the majority of that raised money spent? Well, on the media. Both bloody political campaigns are like Christmas, Hanukkah, and Kwanzaa, all wrapped into one joyous holiday season for the media. We already know that media makes their money from your attention. Your intention and attention is drawn by fear, danger, corruption, controversy, scandal, and all the attractive factors of our dark nature. It is hard to resist danger alert that has been wired into our system, okay, for hundreds of thousands of years. It is known that we pay 10 times more attention to negative information than we do positive information. And so for that reason, every news story is putting out 10 times more negative stories than positive stories. And social media suggestion is also optimized for it. It's purely a matter of economics. Capturing our attention equals ad revenue. That is why when it leads, it leads. So, now, during a political campaign, I mean, oh wow, they are they are in direct control of both ends of the spectrum now. The advertisers and the attention of the populace on the same issues now. The more they stir up the outrage of a populace, the more the advertising revenue, okay? That's what they're going to be raising, the candidates. And then they spend on media to bash that outrageous results as often as possible. That's how media has painted them. The insidious incentive for media has tuned into our insatiable diets. You understand? So there's anger, there's fear, there's worry, there's polarization, because the worse it gets, the better it is for them, for attention, and for advertising dollars. I just got these stats here this morning. Since March of last year, the beginning of the pandemic, news channel viewership skyrocketed. CNN was up 156% year over year, Fox News 51%, MSNBC 26%, CNN jumped 107% in total for all their daily viewership. On top of that, the sports viewership didn't deliver as usual. So then what do these networks do? They triple down on controversy and controversial news. So it is true, the dark side of our nature has been jacked up and amplified. Media has done a terrific job leading our divisiveness, our anger, our fear, and our disagreements. But realize this, it is not who we are as people and as a populace. As people, we are mostly good, but we must stop feeding the dark side of our nature. I told you the Cherokee tale. Inside each one of us is both a good wolf and a bad wolf. The good wolf is kind and loving and caring and generous, and the bad wolf is evil, hateful, vicious, and selfish. These two wolves are in an epic battle for the dominance of our souls. And the one who will win is the one we feed. When you feed the bad wolf, you make it stronger and more dominant than your spirit. You feed it too much and it will eventually even overtake and devour the good wolf. And then your life is filled with anger and outrage and fear and insecurity and depression and sleeplessness and unhappiness. So what do? Well, please stop feeding the bad wolf. Turn away from the manipulation of media. That's news media, that is also social media. And this is really especially true of social media, by the way. If you haven't watched The Social Dilemma on Netflix, I highly recommend that you do so to understand how these platforms really work and how they are working you over. And realize as a populace, as a society, the puppeteers, their media tools have us believe that we are deeply divided. But we do align and agree on most things. We need to stop fighting from the extremes of what we disagree on and come together on the majority on what we do agree on to get some shiitake done. And now, I'm not just talking about the fact that they are divided in the US. I'm talking about your own office, your own neighborhood, and your own family. We never have to agree with somebody 100%. I mean, hey, look, we are all 20% crazy, right? We want to embrace, love, and enjoy somebody's 80% and just let the 20% be. As some people would say, turn frustration with that 20% into fascination. Just say, oh, really? Is that what you believe? That's what you support? Wow. Well, ain't that fascinating, right? I mean, trust me. We just have to accept the 20% because they need to accept the 20% of us that is also cray-cray too. So that's what makes us so fun and adorable as a human species. We are all flawed and wacky. So I know that that is more news than you can bargain for, but I feel that it is important to bring us back into the center, to bring us back into a proper perspective that we are not as divided as it seems. The world is not as negative and as difficult and as that it has been painted to be. People are mostly good and decent, and we all want the same things. And it is your job to simply turn away from these circumstances that want to exploit and amplify the dark side of our nature, beg your pardon, and focus our attention and the attention of those that we lead to those things that amplify the light in our nature. This is why we do what we do, especially on social media. I'm seeing a rise in awareness and consciousness that people are now becoming a beacon of hope, of possibility to shine and on things that are right with the world. Through all the fog of the fear and worry and discouragement, we must be that guiding light to show each other the way forward to our betterness, our better us, our better you, your better you, so we can become better every day. Because at the end of the day, it's our life. So let's make it a good one.